Hello and welcome. Thank you for your time. My name is Nathan Douglas. I am the Nutrition Coordinator here at BICAP Head Start. Today I'm going to cover the necessary information regarding the CACFP program. So let's get started. What is the CACFP? The CACFP is the Child and Adult Care Food Program. It is run under the USDA to provide payments for meals and snacks to care centers. Meals have specific guidelines and quantities set by the USDA to ensure nutritious meals are being served to all program participants. And the last major update to these guidelines was in October of 2017. Here is the CACFP Child Enrollment Form. This is given and to be filled out by the parents before the child attends the Center for Class Days. These are kept on file in our Child Plus database. Here's a quick overview of everything we will cover today, so let's just jump right in. Here are the 3 different meal patterns set for each participant that were updated in 2017. Infant, child, and adult meal patterns. Each one is based on the age of the participant, and these provide the minimum amounts and guidelines for serving reimbursable meals. Infants. Important information regarding the infant meal patterns are: solid foods are only offered when the child is developmentally ready. Breast milk is preferred for infants and is creditable in the CACFP. Mothers can breastfeed on site or provide the center with the necessary amounts. All formula provided either by the parent or the center must be iron fortified formula. Infant meals are tracked daily and weekly and recorded on the infant meal menu records document. Here's the child meal pattern. As noted earlier, it is broken down by age groups. Our early Head Start kids are the green, ages 1 to 2 category, and the Head Start kids are the pink, ages 3 to 5 category. There are 5 main components within the CACFP for mealtime. They are fluid milk, grains, meat alternates, veggies, and fruits. Each component has its own different requirements and portion size to follow. For milk, children under 2 years old should be served unflavored whole milk, and children over 2 should be served 1% low-fat or skim unflavored milk. For grains, we must serve at least 1 whole grain-rich item per day. And some of the other requirements we have to follow are things like limiting sugar in yogurts and breakfast cereals. Each child must be served all of the components in the correct portion sizes to count as a creditable meal. And we also want to make sure that we have water offered and available throughout the entirety of the day for all children. Breakfast. For breakfast, we must serve 3 out of the 5 components to the children: milk, grain, and a veggie/fruit. We can also substitute a meat alternate for the grain component up to 3 times a week. An example of this would be a slice of ham instead of a piece of toast. This is by no means required, but it allows for a little bit more meal planning flexibility. For lunch, the children get all of the food components to count towards a creditable meal. Again, the serving sizes for each piece of the meal must meet the requirements of the meal pattern. And for our afternoon snack, we only must serve 2 of the 5 creditable components to count towards a creditable meal. Grain-based desserts was one of the biggest revisions to the meal patterns in 2017. These items listed on the right are considered non-nutritious desserts and can no longer be served to kids as part of a creditable meal. They are simply just contain too many refined carbs and are high in fat and sugars. However, non-grain-based desserts are still creditable within the CACFP. Some items like muffins still need to be assessed for their sugar and fat content, although the muffins we serve here at Head Start are homemade and always use more than 50% more whole wheat flour to make sure that they are credible and a bit more nutritious for our little kids. Menus. All 3 of our Head Start sites in Bacchus, Black Duck, and here in Bemidji all have different menus. This gives the cooks a little bit more flexibility in being able to provide some variety to the kids while also still being able to be reimbursed for that meal served. These menus can only be changed prior to the new school year and has to be approved by both our dietitian and our policy council. Feedback is always welcome from teachers or parents who can see a copy of their child's menu inside of their classroom or outside of the kitchens. Meal service types. As we all know, this year is kind of a special one. Normally, we would be doing family-style meals. Family-style meal service can increase children's acceptance to offer and eat new foods. However, with COVID-19, we will be pre-plating as much of the food as possible. This decreases any chances of cross-contamination. Children will also be spread out as much as possible for safety. So this style will fit actually more of a combination meal style, but like all things now, this is a very fluid process. But as always, food is never used as reward or punishment, and children should never be forced to eat a food. As adults, we decide what, and the children decide if and how much. We still need successful meal times even throughout COVID-19. We still want aspects of that family-style meal included to our meal service. Things like brief conversations about the food, where it comes from, are great ways to educate and encourage kids to eat what's on their plate. Teachers should be modeling positive eating behaviors during meals. Meal counts. Meal counts are very important. Meal counts are how we know each kid was served a credible meal. These are to be taken at point of service. This is when a participant is sitting down at the table and is served all of the components of the meal. Our snack time and breakfast has a little bit of wiggle room, being that some kids may arrive late to class and wake up later than others from nap time. Last call on breakfast is 9:45 a.m. We want to ensure that all teachers know how to take meal counts correctly and record them into the Child Plus database, where they are saved and used later for determining reimbursement. And finally, meal counts are not the same as attendance. Examples of reimbursable and non-reimbursable meals. Here is an example of a situation where a meal count is acceptable or not. Here again, if a child comes late to class, it is still allowable to credit that meal if they sit down and were served a credible meal. And if the child does not eat anything on their plate, it is still able to be counted. Again, as adults, we choose if the child chooses how much. They just must simply be seated and offered that meal to count. However, if a child is not hungry or refuses to come to the table at the mealtime, this is not being able to be considered reimbursable. Our Head Start policy says that all children served in the morning's bento center should be offered a breakfast upon arrival. Even if this is not a CACFP credible breakfast, all teachers should ask the kitchen for anything, a fruit cup, a cheese stick, anything to make sure that child has a nutritious breakfast going forward through the day. Reimbursement rates. Here are the New Year's reimbursement rates. It is $1.89 for breakfast, $3.51 for lunch, and 96 cents for snack, totaling $6.36 per child per day. All of our Head Start kids are Category A or free meals category. They are approved for either 2 meals and a snack or 1 meal and 2 snacks. Adult meals are not creditable and are recorded differently in our Child Plus data system. All meal counts are recorded from the month prior, and reports are made to help the completion of the reimbursement process through the Minnesota Department of Education. Here are the record-keeping requirements set by the CFP. There are several record-keeping requirements. Things like food production records, temperature logs on fridges and food, and weekly invoices, receipts, and vouchers for purchases. Other necessary documents that are required by the CACFP are special diet statements and special milk documentation. Food safety. All of our cooks carry a certified food manager license. Food delivered to the classrooms will be wrapped in plastic and should remain covered until the children are seated and ready to be eaten. Wash the hands with soap before seating at the tables and handling the food. Wash and sanitize tabletops. Gloves are required when directly handling food. Masks are to be worn during COVID-19 pandemic. And take the temperature of hot foods to ensure that it is above 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Any questions regarding the food, please contact your site cook. Allergies. All food allergies must be diagnosed by a doctor. Depending on the severity, an EpiPen might be needed on site for the child to attend classes. And if substitutions are needed to make for meals, a special diet statement must be completed by the child's doctor and returned to the nutrition coordinator. All allergy information must be posted visibly in the classroom so all of us are aware. A special diet statement is for allergy substitutions, milk that does not meet the nutritional equivalents of cow's milk, like almond milk, or for making modifications for a child with a disability. Special milk requests are for milk that does meet the nutritional equivalents of cow's milk, like soy milk or goat's milk or lactose-free milk, and these do not need to be signed by a doctor or a physician. And both these forms can be found on the BICAP intranet. The CACFP requires monitoring visits, at least 3 per year, and at least 2 of these 3 visits must be unannounced. These are to ensure that the site is complying with all policies and procedures. These are also to help fix any problems that may be present. The CACFP does its own internal reviews every 3 years, and we just had ours in March of 2020 with no negative findings. Each fall and spring, teachers will collect the height and weights of their children. That data is then entered into our Child Plus database, where the BMI is calculated and used in various reports. A nutrition report card will be sent out to parents to show their child's growth. Other nutrition handouts will be given out throughout the year to families. Food activities are a great way to have food experiences in the classroom. The goal of these is to create a positive and creative environment with healthy foods, to in turn, hopefully, influence better eating habits in the future. If you need or have any ideas for food activities, just let me know. I have plenty of ideas for you. Please fill out a food activity request. This allows for us to make sure that the food activity is healthy and that all sufficient supplies and food will be provided. Small activities like bingo or a craft does not need an activity sheet. Thank you all very much for participating in the CACFP operations training.